Next, we have Jean-Claude Homawoo, the co-founder and chief product officer of Lorry, the leading e-logistics trucking company in Middle East and Africa. Today, Jean-Claude will outline what he has learned about building products in frontier markets in Africa. Let's welcome him to stage.
Do I have a click?
Yeah. When it's not working, audio. Now, yes. Thank you, Dimple. Good morning. Thanks for being here. So, I'm from Lorry, and I'm here to talk to you about building technology products at the frontier and the lessons that we've learned bridging the gap with high and low-tech solutions. So, to successfully build and launch technology in frontier markets, you need to think about three things. Number one, you need to build with local talent. You need to balance between analog and digital solutions. And you also want to build with adoption and adaptability in mind. So the promise and opportunity of Africa is pretty undeniable. By 2050, 25% of you will be African. The number of mobile subscribers has been growing explosively, and over 80% of the population will be covered by 3G and 4G technology. Now, this has also translated in technology on the tech startup and development side. So Africa's tech startups have collectively raised over $1 billion in 164 rounds of funding. Lorry, in particular, has raised over $20 million from DST and Hill House Capital. And several companies that are attending Web Summit have done so as well. Companies like Lydia, like Paystack, like Twiga, and Trello as well. Now, what's particular about building products on the continent is that when you start looking, the continent is clearly rising, but the market is unlike anything else. So let me give you an example. In Kenya, for instance, Kenya has the highest adoption rate for mobile payments. But at the same time, 40% of the rural population does not have access to electricity. And access to managed drinking water has decreased by 10% in the past several years. So Western principles of product development don't really apply, and tech deployment is not, traditional tech deployment is not suited for building sustainable and successful products on the continent. So the success of M-Pesa, for instance, is closely tied to the network of local shops and shopkeepers that basically acted as bank tellers. Uber drivers in Kenya will often call you on the phone to ascertain your location because of the lack of network triangulation for precise GPS location. So whereas software as a service traditionally will work in the West, where you can just do some UX research, work with a product manager, develop it with your engineers, stick it in the App Store, and then magically users adopt it. In the West, you sort of have to build your teams around the idea of adoption and development for the local population. So in summary, the recap here is first build locally, make sure that engineers and product managers are from those local markets. Understand that Africa is not a singular market, but really 54 different countries. Adoption is a product requirement. It is not something that you can think about after you've built the product. It has to be built into your teams. And lastly, understand how quickly markets change and how uneven they are. Thank you very much.